Happy Friday, everybody. Andy and Steve from WagerTalk.com. Welcome to the Road to Millions on Friday, November 3rd. Sorry we didn't get to a show yesterday. Had some behind-the-scenes stuff happen, but we're going to go over our team totals today. And so you're going to get 4 NFL best bet. You're going to get team totals. We'll briefly talk about some NBA and NHL props. Only 2 games in NHL, so not much there. We'll go over the stat of the day, and we'll go over Survivor. But let's really quick do some positive vibes from the audience, and then let's get into some bets here. So looking here at Drake, best NHL play, Sharks team total under 2.5. Bang. Hit that one. Samuel Fisher says, it would be cool if you guys actually said what the picks are. I kind of feel like we do that. We give out some picks and we give out some
I saw
plays.
that too, and I thought the same exact thing.
All official plays can be found at WagerTalk.com. The show is designed to try and help you guys with your picks, and then we give out some other plays. All our official plays are at WagerTalk.com. So, Cal Ripken's consecutive games, we did that. I forgot to put the slide up when we did the unbreakable record of who's in the Hall of Fame. So I got to do a better job. Matt wants an Indy meetup. I think it's beyond time that we need to do an Indiana. Yes, and Rich is making fun of me. I accidentally called Connor McDavid Connor McGregor, which is funny. So, Linda says, I love you, Andy. I started betting on props and having fun. It's fun. It's profitable. It's just awesome. So, and Drake had Allen Robinson under 14.5 yards. He gets that one catch for 10 yards. So I know it was a little bit of a sweat, but it's Allen Robinson. He ain't getting any more. So, so go ahead and leave a comment, guys, for today. Tell us how your win was last night. I know we cashed on Derrick Henry over. I was kind of upset. I had a good read on that game. I like Deontay Johnson over his catches. He went over. I talked about Kenny Pickett not throwing an interception, which, by the way, we have to keep that one in mind. You know the Titans have 2 interceptions this year? It's like the lowest in the league by far. Like, they just don't. Yeah. And I got to tell you, I heard or I saw somebody, commenting about, well, Kenny Pickett's going to throw a bad one. I don't know, man. If Vrabel is telling those guys don't take chances, just keep the guys in front of you. Like, you remember how Trayvon Diggs for the Cowboys, he would get roasted on some plays, but he was taking chances. So he would get roasted, but he would also get, like, a huge interception. I feel like the Titans are just like, nope, keep them in front. Let's not, like, take a bunch of chances. So there might be something to that to take the Titans opposing quarterback to not have an interception. So what plays do we have up? Well, we're off of a Thursday Night Football cash, and we got our NFL best bet that is up now. NCAA football best bet is up. We are a mere 7-2 on those. We just keep hitting these one play a week, and it's working. NBA best bet, it's not up at the time of recording this. It will be up a little bit later. We got to wait on a couple of lineups. So I'm just kind of making the decision. We're going to be patient on some of these NBA plays to wait and see what the lineups actually are. There was one play that I left off yesterday because I was waiting on a lineup, and then it hit. So patience on the NBA plays. With these NBA guys and the injuries, sometimes it just take a while. But go grab that NFL best bet and get that NCAA best bet as well. So let's get into 4 NFL best bets, Steve. I'm going to let you start because without talking, you and I came up with the same one, which is Josh Jacobs under, and we both agree this line makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, he's went under in 7 of 8 games this season, and he's maxed out at 77 yards. This Raiders organization isn't obviously in turmoil, and you could say maybe
organization.
It's
organization has the word organize in it. I feel like we should just say company.
That's a good point.
Team.
That's a good point.
Group of people wearing the same uniforms.
I mean, you could wonder if it rallies the troops, but I just don't see it here.
Rally the troops. Aiden O'Connell is their quarterback this week, Steve. Rally the troops.
That's part of the analysis. I have that. But the Giants have been great on defense recently too. And I mean, they just held Brees Hall to 17 yards on 12 carries last week. So I'm looking at Jacobs staying under this total again this week in a game that should be another low scoring game that these teams are known for.
Yeah, I would add to that. Brian Robinson, they held him to 23 yards. What's up with this Giants rush defense all of a sudden? Really
They
amazing.
they've been good overall since Buffalo. Like the last
Yeah,
3 games, I'm going to talk about it in the team totals, but they've been they're keeping the last 3 opponents under 15 points, I believe, in the last 3 games. So
rally the troops. That is ripe. I I will really enjoy that one. Rally the troops. I'm going Rashad White over 27.5 receiving. Talked about this when I'm Prop It Up. He seems to be more effective as a pass catching running back than he is as a rusher. And this is a team that they're playing that gives up over 42 yards receiving. He had 7 catches for 70 yards last week. He had 6 for 65 the week before. I'm kind of all in on this Rashad White receiving. 27.5 sounds like a lot. I mean, that's like Austin Eckler territory, but he's putting up the numbers. And you get a defense that isn't great to running backs. And I think it's kind of one of those under the radar, type of plays. And Baker Mayfield, he's been throwing for decent amount of yardage. Baker Mayfield's passing total this week is 238 and a half. He's up to about 240 yards. If he gets that, I gotta believe Rashad White gets 30 yards of that one. So I'll take Rashad White, who's kind of quietly becoming one of the better pass catching backs in the league. Dante Foreman, you like him over 38 and a half rushing yards against the Saints? What do you like about him?
when you watch this guy play, he looks like he's shot out of a cannon running the ball. He pounds it so hard, and he's averaged 63 yards in his last 3 games since he's received an expanded role with the team. And this seems to happen every season where he fills in for an injured running back and then piles up the yardage mid to late in the year. The Bears are going to need to run. We saw last week, Badgett isn't going to be throwing the deep ball, obviously. And the Saints have a middling run defense. The way you can get at them is on the ground. They're great, obviously, stopping the pass. And we just saw them allow a season high 164 yards on the ground to your Colts last week. And last season, Foreman also carried the ball 12 times for 68 yards against them with the Panthers. Obviously, different situation, but kind of the same in a sense where he's filling in for an injured running back against the same defense. So, I mean, this number seems awful low to me. He's hitting 2 of his last 3, so give me the over.
I don't understand why some of these playoff teams, why Dante Foreman was just out there and he ends up on the Bears. Just the eye test, he looks better than some of these running backs on some of these contending teams. He was really good last year on a terrible Panthers team. I don't understand it. I like and like I'll use my Colts as an example. They get Zach Moss, who eye test always kind of looked good to me, and he gets his chance in Indianapolis and he looks great. And
Yeah.
Deontay Foreman, I don't understand. Why wouldn't the Cowboys go get him? Put him with Tony Pollard, right?
It's so true. I mean, it's not just last year. He did it the season prior too, where
Yes.
he's every year he's just hanging around, waiting in the wings, and then an
And he ends up on
inevitable
the
injury.
Bears.
Yeah, or the Panthers, right? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so like an injury happens, and he's right there, and he ends up. I mean, I don't know if he could do it for a full season because he hasn't really done it before, but he's a great fill-in and a great guy to have around. You're right. I can't believe he hung around for so long.
Yeah. I'm going to take Kenneth Walker under 53 and a half rushing. I don't believe he's healthy. He missed practice all of last week with a calf injury. We saw with Joe Burrow and everybody. When you have a calf injury, it's just this is a multi-week injury. Calves do not heal up. I have pulled many muscles, mostly hamstrings, but I've pulled my calf twice and I could not believe how brutal it was and how long that stupid calf muscle took to heal. So, I got it at 53 and a half. I did this one on bet on it and I still stand by it. Against Detroit, 17 carries for 43 yards. But here's the thing. He's faced 2 rush defenses that are in the top 7. He went under. He had 43 yards against Detroit. Now against Cleveland, he had 8 carries for 66 yards, but he had a 45-yard run Other than that, 7 carries for 21 yards, and I think the stats for him are inflated. He's faced Carolina, Cincy, Arizona, Giants, Rams. Those are 5 of the bottom 12 rush defenses. We talked about the Giants, but in the first part of the year, they were terrible. Baltimore is the 12th best rush defense. And last week we saw Zach Charbonnet get more snaps than him, more routes run than him. Charbonnet got more touches in the red zone, and Charbonnet had 5 rushes and Walker only had 8. So I'm fading Kenneth Walker for the immediate future just because I think that calf injury is something that you can't really ignore. So that's going to do it for our 4 best bets here. Go ahead and hit the like button, guys, and leave a comment. Tell us your wins. Tell us what your best bet is for this weekend. We have several cross-sport parlays that are up for this weekend. So if you want to take advantage of that, one way that you can do it, guys, is you can go get these individual plays, or if you want, we have a promo going on. It is all plays for the rest of 2023, $469. It's less than $59 a week. All percentages, all sports, all cross-sport parlays. Go and take advantage of that. We continue to maintain top 3 in units gained for this year and for the last 365. We've been very consistent with that over the last 3 or 4 months. So really proud of that. Go and take advantage of that. All plays for the rest of 2023, $469. All right, guys, let us here, Steve. We got music for team total. We didn't do team total Thursday, so we'll do team total Thursday / Friday.
Friday.
So let's do team totals. These are interesting. The interesting part is I have the Eagles over and you have the Cowboys over, and they're playing each other. So it's kind of the interesting one. So we each do our favorite over and our favorite under. I like the Eagles over, the Packers under. Steve's going with the Cowboys over and the Raiders under. Well, let's start off talking about the overs. What do you like about the Cowboys?
So we saw him explode with 43 last week against the Rams after their bye. And I feel like the Commanders might have laid the blueprint here for the Cowboys on how to pile up the points against the Eagles. We saw the Commanders 30-plus points in both games against the Eagles, and the Eagles struggle against the pass. I feel like the Cowboys are going to be able to throw on them. I feel like it's a shootout, so I agree with you on the Eagles team total over as well. But I like this number at 20.5. It's a little bit juicy, but they only got to get to 21, 3 touchdowns. I love this one.
I think the handicap is pretty much the same. I just think this game's going over. The Eagles are the number 1 rush defense, so I don't think the Cowboys are even going to try to pound the rock. I don't think they're going to get much success. And at the same time, Jalen Hurts is hurt. He's not going to be running a whole lot. And I think this becomes Dak Prescott and Jalen Hurts throwing the ball all over the field. So I think it's high scoring. I think the game goes over. I did a video for WagerTalk on the YouTube channel about how I think this game goes over 46.5. And I like the 23.5. It was 24.5. Might be a little cautious, but I just think there's a lot of points in this game. I think the passing defenses of both teams can be exploited. So give me the Eagles over 23.5. Steve, it's a gift. I'll go under. It's a gift that keeps on giving. This Packers team, man, they can't score. Jordan Love is, getting worse. He's getting worse. Aaron Jones is hurt. He's got a hamstring injury. This Packers team, it's really bad. And they're playing the Rams this week. Who knows what's going on with the situation at quarterback for the Rams. I just think these are two teams that are going to run the ball. Even if Stafford's hurt or if Rippon plays, I think they use their running game to try and gain yards. I think this is just going to be a slow, plodding, I think it's a horrible game, and the Packers cannot score. I do not see how they get 3 touchdowns against this Rams defense. Rams defense isn't great, but they're not atrocious. So just keep riding the Packers under. And speaking of teams that can't score, Raiders under 19.5.
Yeah, this is my favorite total of the week. They've only went over this total once in 8 games, and that was a late safety against my Patriots. The organization's obviously in turmoil. We touched on that earlier. And we also touched on the Giants' D being great recently against the run and the pass. And they've only, in the last 3 games, since that Buffalo game, they've been great. Only allowed 13, 7, and 14. Give me the under here on the Raiders with a ton of confidence.
Yeah, they're not going to rally the troops. So, uh, so let's do stat of the day real quick. This one was yours. What do you got?
So the Chiefs ranked dead last in fourth quarter scoring with just 2.4 points per game, while the Dolphins rank eighth with 7.3 points per game. It was just pretty surprising to me that the Chiefs, this team that we are so accustomed to, scoring late at will, piling on the points. It's just, you said it at the beginning of the year. You you were beating the drum on their defense, saying that they're going to be a lower scoring team, and you're right, especially late in the game, and they also early in the game they don't score very well either.
Yeah. Let's do Survivor. We still got some people left in Survivor, and Steve, you are one of them. Each week, I'm just going to make my graphic a little bit smaller to let everyone know I'm eliminated. Listen, fading the Bears with the Badgent Pageant show worked last week. Pretty much no sweat. You're going back to it again, aren't you?
Yeah, the Saints at home. I faded the Bears last week with the Chargers, and I'll be doing it again here. It's kind of a toss up for me between them and the Browns. I think the Browns for the Survivor is a good look this week as well, but I'll go with the Saints against this Bears team that I just don't have much faith in whatsoever.
So leave your Survivor pick. So guys, my YouTube account, they just keep banning it for 24 hours because they say I'm spamming, which all I'm trying to do is interact. Leave comments under.
You think they would like that?
They literally tell you that this improves the algorithm, and then when you do it, they ban you. So, yeah, go figure. Go figure. But leave your Survivor pick in the comment section. I will try and post the link to the spreadsheet so you guys can see that. So, let's talk a little bit. I want to talk some NHL props, but I really want to go over. You want to talk the Sharks real quick?
Yeah, sure.
They're not going to be this bad. The San Jose Sharks.
Well, yeah, I don't think they're going to go winless for. I don't think they're going to go winless for this season.
But we talked about you got to look at their schedule. They played a murder's row, haven't they?
We keep talking about this. The schedule makers didn't do them any favors whatsoever. The beginning of the year,
I'm pulling it up right here.
It's so bad. Rough. It was like Bruins, like every top team you could think of they had to play, like
Vegas, Colorado, Carolina, Boston, Nashville, Florida, Tampa, Carolina again, Washington, and then Vancouver. I mean, that is as tough as it gets to start the season. So
yeah,
it lightens up though, big time.
I'm sure it has to. It has to a little bit.
Yeah, so they're home to Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and Edmonton, and I guess what we're saying is they're not going to go winless, and they're playing some teams that are pretty bad. Like Pittsburgh sucks, Edmonton sucks, which
yeah, amazingly.
Yeah, so I wonder if there's going to be some value in if I played over 1.5 goals in all three of these games, it's going to be plus money. Do you think I win two of them? I think I win two of them. I think the Sharks score. It's 3 games at home against teams that give up goals. And I think like the pendulum is about as far out as it gets about how bad the Sharks can be. I just don't think they're going to be that bad. I don't know. What's your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, they're obviously going to be a team to fade throughout the year, but they're gonna you just win a game. Just you walk into a win once every 10 times. Even the worst of teams don't go, winless for such a long streak. I wonder what the money lines will be on those if you could take a shot on one and then the next day play it again if they did lose again. You know what I mean? It would probably be the point where you could maybe run it 3 days in a row, kind of similar to what you're saying with the playing it for that blanket 3-day span. You said they're all at home in those games as well. So
yeah, Pittsburgh, Philly, Edmonton. I think they get 2 goals against Pittsburgh. I'll say here. I think tomorrow I may try that one. And here's the thing, Steve. How many times do we see when a play all of a sudden gets popular on Twitter? Like nobody, like only NHL people knew how bad San Jose was going to be coming into the season, but now it's just spread everywhere. And so now you get the Twitter warriors that are like, I've got a great play the San Jose Sharks team total under. And they're looking at it and they're not really realizing they just played. What is this? The playoffs last year? They played every it's a playoff team.
Yeah, they especially early on with that Vegas and Boston and stuff. That was brutal for
Yeah,
them.
and their stock is never going to be lower than coming off a 10-1. I mean, that's a CFL score at the end of the first quarter or something. So
And
I
it
guess
just
my point is the Sharks aren't going to be this bad. What were you going to say?
and it just makes sense that once everyone jumps on them to keep fading them, they're gonna
Ass
eventually win a
whooping.
game, and yeah, the books are gonna cash on that one for sure.
Yeah. So when we look at props.cash, we talked about Dolan at plus money to not have a point. He didn't. Yesterday we talked about Fiala and Nylander. Nylander did have a point. He's now at 13 games in a row with a point. Fiala did not, so that was plus money. So the theory behind this is when these guys go on streaks that are just getting ready to come to an end just by pure mathematics, you're getting them at plus money. I don't see anything today. There's only 2 games. 6 games in a row with a point. I'm not ready to fade any of these guys. Plus, I mean, like Nylander is going to be almost plus 200 to not have a point. He's creeping up there.
Yeah, that's one where it's just unsustainable for him to go that long. I mean, I don't see anything today with only 2 games on the docket, but we talked about Rupe Hintz and the run
Mm-hmm.
he's been on going forward. That could be a look. I think he scored a point. He scored a point in every game except for one, and recently he scored 2+ in the last 3.
Yeah,
That could be an unsustainable streak there as well.
yeah. So not much in hockey. Tomorrow's a full slate. We'll definitely have hockey up. So, did you have anything in NBA you wanted to go over?
Yeah, I got a couple of plays if you
What you
if
like?
one that really stands out to me is the DeRozan under 5.5 assists tonight. He's went under in 4 or 5 games. He's only averaged 4, and if you look at it, he's just averaging this year and last year. He's averaging far less assists at home than he is on the road. Seems like he tries to put on a little bit of show and score more at home for the home crowd. So I like that look. He went over last game with 7 against Dallas, but I think that's my favorite look of the day. I think you could look towards Joker. We talked about that one, over 8.5 assists. That's the same type of thing where he's consistently going over, and you get it at plus money at 8.5. He's consistently going over at home, 2 for 2 on the year, 0 for 3 on the road though to this number. And last year he went over in 37 of 47 games at home. And I'm looking to see if some sort of lines come out from Malcolm Brogdon tonight because now Henderson is out with injury. We don't have any lines on that one yet,
He
but
hurt himself fouling everyone.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Seriously, but Brogdon's a guy that with the Celtics last year when he gets to jump in there and start, he's looking to fire away. And with this team that they're going to need some scoring punch, and they don't have a line on him yet. But I'm looking for those lines, and in that game as well, I had my eye on Jeremy Grant under 7.5 rebounds plus assists. He hasn't gotten there yet this year, and last game he had one combined. He had 1 rebound in 38 minutes, by the way. So, but what scares me off of it though right now is now Henderson's out, right? So
yeah.
that changes things a little bit. I'm not saying that Grant's going to become like the facilitator and have all the assists, but we've seen these things happen where, does it change his positioning on the floor or something like that, where he picks up some more rebounds and finally goes over this total. So I'm off of that one with Henderson now being out. It's just a variable that I'd like to see at least one game get played before I jump back on that one.
Talked about Dennis Schroeder to go over his rebounds and assists on WagerTalk today, and they had his total at 9.5, and I said, but he can get there just in assists, and he did. He actually did get there in assists. So I'm looking at some of these other ones. Nothing really jumps out to me today, but I will tell you the Hornets. I will keep looking hard at when the Hornets play. Just the centers, the centers just torch them. You can really use the opposing center alt line. You can look at as a parlay piece, or you can just take the. Let's pull up the Hornets. Let's pull up the Hornets schedule here and see because Sengun was the last center I believe they played, and he easily went over his point total. Yeah, so tomorrow they get Indiana. Dallas doesn't really have a center, and then they get Washington. I don't know. Keep an eye on the Hornets. They give up like just ridiculous amounts to centers. They can't stop the rebounding. They can't stop the points. So I was hoping to that's not good matchups for centers. But this Sunday game against New York, just Mitchell Robinson over rebounds. Look at over rebounds and points. Miami, bam, he's going to murder him. What do you think Giannis is going to do to him? So
Oof.
there's some good matchups on the bigs on the Hornets. So. All right. I think that's going to do it for us. I think we covered pretty much everything. So, unless you got anything else, Steve.
Oh, that's all I got for today.
All right, guys, go grab that NFL best bet. Grab that college football best bet. Don't forget, college basketball starts next week, and that should add another tool to our arsenal. NBA best bet is up, and you can get all plays, no promo code needed, for the rest of 2023 for $469. So, we'll be back on Sunday morning to go over our alt line, same game parlays, anytime touchdown score, and then we should have some clarification on some of these injuries that are holding us back from firing away on player props. But the NFL best bet that is up right now, go grab that now. That line is probably going to move by Sunday morning. So it's already moved. It's already moved slightly. So I would go grab that ASAP to make sure you lock that in. Coming off a really nice Thursday night football win. So that's going to do it for us, guys. Good luck. Hit the like button. Leave your comment below. And we will see everyone Sunday morning on the road to millions.
Good luck.